Howdy kids, I'm here with my friend Norm.
Hey, Paul.
And he has just returned from America and Vietnam, and now he's here in the Philippines. Where is he gonna stay? What does he like better? Does he like the Philippines? Does he prefer Vietnam? Or does he prefer good old United States of America? That is what's coming up in this video. Kids, like I said in the little introduction, I'm here with my buddy Norm. And Norm was living in the Philippines for about a year. And then 6 months ago, he went back to America. And he is now back here in the Philippines. And many things have happened between the year and a half that passed. And so I'm going to let Norm take it over and kind of give you the story. So Norm, you lived out here for a year. You want to share that experience and then maybe reflect back on why you left and what happened when you went back.
Sure. Yeah, my wife and I, we came last year, probably around June, and decided this is where we're going to live. I decided, I'd been here before every year since about 2017, for 6 weeks or so.
Right.
So we decided we're going to live here full time. So we got here, we found a house to rent, but we made the mistake that most foreigners will make, moving too quickly,
Slow down is what I always preach.
I've heard that, so you say that so many times, but.
And I want to mention real quick, I'm going to interrupt him one time. His wife is a Filipina.
Right, that's right, sure.
Okay.
And so we moved here, but the mistake we made, we rented a bigger house than we needed. We felt like, we need a housekeeper. We bought 2 cars, just way over. We're trying to live a life like you have in the U.S. here, and that's really just not feasible. So what we did, I call it Filipino fatigue.
Okay.
Maybe after a year, I'd started thinking, well, my parents are still alive. I've got kids, grandkids back in the U.S. I really miss them. So.
And Davina, your wife, she was never really wild about being in the Philippines.
No, she didn't want to live here full time. That was mostly my idea, but she just followed along. But like I say, after I kind of got the fatigue.
You got it too.
We decided, we're just going to go back home. So we sold everything we did here. We had, after a year, went back to the U.S. And at that point, we didn't know what we're going to do.
The good news is, if I can interject, you have a house to go to.
Right.
And you have a couple of rental properties and all that kind of good stuff. We won't get into all the nuts and bolts of that. But you do have a landing area.
I do. That's I'm very fortunate that I've got a home back in North Carolina that currently have a lady and her kids live there. And she covers 100% of all the expenses. So I have zero cost of my house there. So.
Awesome.
And when we moved back, we just kind of share the residence and share the expense. So I live in the U.S. for half the cost of somebody else. So
exactly.
That's why it's so fortunate. But
it's a good setup.
But when we left here last year, Paul, I was fat.
Yes, you were.
I weighed 245 pounds.
How tall are you?
5'9". So I was the roly-poly doughboy for sure. And I wanted to change that about my life. So I started researching this, Ozempic. And I realized that I could buy that, online. Didn't really have to go through the doctor and pay the $1,000 that it generally costs. They're these compounding pharmacies. So I was buying it for, $200 a month in the U.S.
So to explain to the folks maybe a little bit about that process.
Okay.
About Ozempic.
Yeah. So Ozempic is basically, it's used for weight loss and diabetes, but it's now off-labeled for weight loss. It's an injection you give yourself once a week.
Okay.
And you gradually move up to a higher dose. So when I started to lower dose, and I moved up, and within 3 months, I've lost the majority of my weight. And I've lost 60 pounds.
Guy looks great.
And in that amount of time.
Just looks fantastic.
More energy, more everything. It's phenomenal. So.
And so for someone to order Ozempic, they don't have to go to their doctor now.
No.
And do all that hoopla.
Not at all.
You can go online to their website. Is that what you do?
Yep. There's there's different compounding pharmacies, and they have them here in the Philippines. You can buy it here.
Okay.
And it's saying you need a prescription, but you go online and with the pharmacy, and they have basically online doctors like telehealth. And you have an interview with the doctor, and once the doctor approves your prescription, they ship it right out to you.
And what's the cost on that?
In the U.S., you can get it for about $150 a month.
Okay.
You know, and here in the Philippines, it's also about 120, it's 6,000 some odd pesos a month here in the Philippines. And
so
that's
a little bit less than America, but not a ton.
Right. And that's the actual prescribed by doctor, FDA approved medication.
Awesome. Because I heard when it first came out, it was like $1,000 a month.
It was.
Stupid like that.
Right, it was. It was $1,000 a month when
now
it first came out.
it's gone down. And that's what I kind of want to relay here on the little channel. People that are interested in these kind of things.
Oh man, it's so much more affordable now. And the more research they do, the more this stuff helps so many different things.
Absolutely.
You know, it's supposed to be, you know, help maybe with long-term Alzheimer's to, you know, kind of offset. But the main goal is for diabetes medication and weight loss. So
because diabetes is turning into the #1 killer in the world, I think.
It is.
I know in the Philippines, the obesity rate has gone to 40%.
Yeah.
And in Thailand, it's pushing 50%.
Yeah.
And it's all, you know why. It's all the
fried
McDonald's
and
fried foods and all the commercialized food instead of the natural stuff.
Right.
We won't dwell on that.
Yeah.
All right. So you got yourself down 60 pounds.
I did.
And what did your wife do?
Now she couldn't take the shot. One problem is, and it's a lot of problem here in the Philippines, is if you ever had a thyroid issue, you cannot take the medicine.
Okay.
And she had thyroid medicine before she had taken, so she was exempt. She couldn't take it. So she did hers the old-fashioned way. She was in the gym 3 to 4 times a week. She would stay 3-4 hours, every time, and then she would count calories, eat right, weigh her food. So she's done it the right way and has muscle and tone, where I've just lost and I've got some flab left. You know?
I gotta tell you, I saw them 6 months ago when they left and waved goodbye and all that in their final days here, and they came back. I thought I was looking at 2 different people.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
we
both
both
of them just got super conscious about their health, their weight. Now Davina wasn't really overweight, but she lost what?
Right, she was 120, I think, when we left, and she's down to like 101, 102. So she's lost 20 pounds basically. So
that's a lot of weight on somebody that's only weighing 120.
It is, yeah.
Knocked off 20.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, she looks just fantastic. We saw them at a party the other day.
Yeah.
And my wife goes, "Oh my God, Davina's so sexy."
Yeah, she does. Yeah, she has.
She didn't
really
mention you for some reason.
I know what's up with that.
What's up with that?
Well, her eyes are not as bad as ours. I look at myself in rose-colored glasses sometimes, you know.
Well, aren't we a dapper dance?
That's right. You know.
So anyway, all right. So you lost all the weight. Davina got all healthy.
Yeah.
And then what did you do? You picked up and you started vacationing or something?
Well, we did. We decided that, like here in the Philippines, I got fatigue. In the U.S., I kind of got fatigue too after about 6 months. I got to missing, here, the climate. It started getting colder in the U.S. So then we decided, well, let's go to Vietnam and spend some time there, and then we'll follow and go to the Philippines next. We'll just kind of jump around and see what we can do. So we went to Vietnam, stayed there a month, and we had planned on getting dental work done for her in Vietnam because she's missing, 5 teeth. She needed 5 implants.
Okay.
She had some veneers she had done here in the Philippines 3 or 4 years ago, but they were fairly lower quality and they were having problems with those. So I wanted to get her checked out.
Okay.
So I had scheduled in Vietnam, this is in Da Nang, like 3 dentists I was going to go and interview, get quotes from.
Okay.
And so the first one I went to was kind of like what you would expect here in the Philippines. It was an older office. The equipment was not up to date and everything, what you would think. So they gave us a quote, and I think for her alone, it was going to be about $4,000
USD
for 5 implants and basically about 18 veneer, which I thought, man, that's cheap, you know, because
Yeah.
in the U.S. I got that quote and it was over 40 grand.
So you
US.
got a quote in America
Yes.
before you left.
Right.
And it was $40,000 to take care of Davina.
Right.
That
right.
was 5 implants and the veneers.
And all the veneers, right.
And that's what, 20 veneers?
Yeah, 20 veneers.
Okay.
So I thought, man, 4,000 is cheap, you know.
Yeah, it's 10%.
Yeah. So I was ready to pull the trigger then, but I went ahead and went with the next quote. So when we got to that dental office, I mean, it was a 180. This place was brand new built, still had that new building smell.
Wow.
And all the equipment was brand new, clean, I mean, pristine.
State of the art.
It was state of the art. So I'm thinking in my mind, all right, this place, there's no way I can afford this place, but I'll go through with it. So we went through the interview, and when they started listing everything that she needed, I was shocked because they picked up on a lot of things the other dentist didn't.
Yeah.
So I'm just going through the process. Okay. Give me the price. So they start figuring it out, and I'm like, they're implants, and they write down, cost $295 each for the implant. I'm like, dang, that's pretty cheap. And then they write crown. So it's not veneers, it's actually crown that covers the whole teeth.
What's the difference between a veneer and a crown?
Yeah, I had to get schooled on that. So basically a veneer will just cover the front part of your tooth and leave the back exposed.
Okay.
So it's kind of like just a
coating.
Like a coating, kind of like window
it white.
tint. They'll
Yeah,
just
yeah.
kind of tint the top of it. A crown actually covers the entire tooth and sealed, so there's no decay or anything can get into the original tooth.
So a crown is far superior.
Yes, a crown is superior and generally a lot more expensive. So, but they were writing down crowns, $95 each.
Holy moly.
So I'm thinking, man, that is really cheap. So, and she needed 3 root canals also because
Wow.
her gums were bad. So they started figuring it all up, and hers, I think, altogether was a little over $3,000. And I'm like, good night. That's cheaper than the other place, and she's gotten a lot more work done.
And getting more and by a more professional setup and
Yes.
state-of-the-art equipment.
Absolutely.
Nice.
So then I'm like, well, okay, let me talk about mine, at that point, because my teeth were yellow, stained, a little bit crooked, and, I like to smile a lot. And
Yeah.
I've always kind of been subconscious of the yellow teeth. So I got 20 crowns done, and they were, again, $95 a piece. So I think all in, I was like $1,400 and some odd dollars for.
What would that cost in America to do the crowns?
Oh, it would have been, crowns for this would have probably been at least $20K, maybe $20,000 US dollars. Yeah.
And you got it once more time? 14?
About $1,400-$1,500.
Holy
yeah.
moly.
Yeah. So
And smile for the camera.
yeah, they're
at
all
those.
white
Look at those beautiful
white
things,
and
huh?
straight. So
And those are in solid. Those are permanent. Those aren't dentures.
Nope.
Nothing like
those
that.
those are in permanent, and they come with like a 20-year warranty.
You want to give a shout out to the dentist that did it?
I do. It's called Valis, VALIS Dental in Da Nang, Vietnam.
There you go.
Yeah, I have the little, and they also have, and a lot of people are worried about Vietnam. There's not a lot of people that speak English there.
Right.
What I loved about this, there was a very fluent English speaking lady that stayed with us from the time, actually, they picked us up at they'll pick you up at the airport. They picked us up actually from the other dentist and brought us to their facility,
yeah.
paid for that, bought us lunch, and did an examination, did full 360 x-ray, and gave us a quote of what we needed. And they said at that point, if you decide to say no, there's no charge. So they do a lot of the real x-ray and everything.
So you would have had the lunch, the drive, everything, and they would have said, okay, cool, if you don't want to do it.
True. Yep, that's it. But that lady stayed with us for the entire process. We walked in, communicating, making sure we understood everything, making sure we were happy. I can't give that place high enough marks. So I've got the information I'll give to you. Maybe you can post on here.
Yeah, I'll put it in the description.
Yeah.
If you send it over to me later.
Yeah, I can
when you
do
get
that.
home or whatever.
But I never imagined that it could be that cheap.
I never did either.
Yeah, so.
Because I checked out just veneers here. I've got, same thing as you, I've got what's called tetracycline stains.
Right.
So I've never had white teeth.
Yeah.
Ever since I was a little kid. And tetracycline's an antibiotic they gave me in the 50s. and that was the side effect. I always had gray or brown teeth, whatever
Right.
you want to call it. And so that's always been one of those things where you're insecure about it. You're
It
kind of
is, you know.
self-conscious.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
don't
yeah.
want to smile too much. And I thought it was because I was a smoker and the caffeine, but they go, no, because when I get my teeth cleaned and they buzz all that off the same color.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm getting whiter.
Mine too.
And I
Mine
tried
would
the
too, yeah.
whitening strips and
Yeah.
the thing overnight, and none of it worked.
No.
So you got to go in and do it that way.
Yeah.
But enough about me.
Yeah.
Let's get back to your dealio. So you're in Vietnam. You got all this dental work done for 1/10 of what it would cost.
Right.
I checked into veneers here, and they are $400 a tooth.
Okay, right.
And you paid how much?
It's 200. Oh, no, the veneers were
Yeah.
actually like $95 for each tooth.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's a crown versus a veneer.
A crown versus
which
a
is,
veneer.
Which is more.
So I'm thinking that it might, and how long of a process, start to finish, did you need to see the dentist? I mean,
Okay.
how many trips and how many days were you
Sure.
involved in that?
Sure. For mine, just the veneers, no implants, no major dental work. I went in one day and they fitted me for the permanent one. So they did all the modification they do. They kind of grind your teeth a little bit so that they make them a little rigid so that these seal better, you know.
Okay.
So that was the first day. When I left, I had a temporary set
Okay.
of teeth. It looked just like this. Then I come back the next day and fitted with the permanent, and that's it.
So it was a 2-day procedure.
A 2-day procedure. Yeah.
See, I asked AI, after I talked to you
Yeah.
originally
Oh, yeah,
about
yeah,
this,
yeah.
and they say it's a 3-week deal. And I thought,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
no, I can't leave the house for 3 weeks.
Yeah. No.
But if you tell me it's a 2-day deal,
A 2-day deal.
and they're telling me $8,000 to do just veneers, and for $1,500 I can get these crowns.
Right.
I think it's well worth me flying to Vietnam
Yeah.
and going to this clinic and getting the whole dealio done.
Oh, absolutely.
And that pays for the hotel and you name it. I'm still way ahead of the money, or anybody else for that matter. You know, Asia's been kind of famous for medical tourism, what they call it.
Right.
Facelifts to heart procedures because of the cost compared to the States or Europe. So I think this really puts kind of a spotlight on just how cheap it really is.
I mean, I've told people in the U.S. it's worth it. Before you pay 40 grand, you're cheaper to take 2 weeks off work and
Goddamn
fly
right.
here and get the deal done and then go back home. I mean, it's just incredible.
I'm amazed that it's
Yeah.
only a 48 hour. I'll figure 72 because
Yeah.
I like to plan for the worst.
Yeah.
But so what? You're there for a week, and then you come home, and you're cool for school.
Yeah, but the only difference with implants, where they actually have to drill in to your bone, they can do that in like a 10-day process.
Okay.
If your bone structure is good enough. Now, Davina, my wife, her bone structure wasn't good enough, so they drilled the implants in, and we have to go back in February. So it's about a 2-month process to let the bone, I guess, adhere to those.
Good information.
But if you don't need implants or you just need simple implants, she needed 5, so that was the issue. But if you only need 1, you're looking at a week process or less, and you're good to go. So
What was your overall take on Vietnam when you first got there? Did you say, "Hey, this is a good alternative to America," or "This is a good alternative to the Philippines"? What was your initial impression and final impression?
Yeah. Oh, when I first got there, I had heard that it's horrible. You can't communicate. It's all the signs are not in English, which is all true.
Yeah.
But it's so easy to use Google Translate. I mean, everybody there is used to looking at a phone and reading. It was a common practice for me just to go put my phone in front of somebody's face, and they would read it, and they would speak in their phone and show me. So the first week or so I was there, I'm like, I could live here. This is nice.
Were you in Saigon? No.
We stayed 1 week in Saigon
Okay.
and 2 weeks in Da Nang.
And which did you like better between the two?
That's funny because we were in Da Nang and it rained every day. They say it's the rainy season, and I thought rainy season like here, it'll rain, then it'll be sunshine.
Right.
It rained for 2 weeks solid, so that's quite depressing.
Yeah.
I couldn't live there in the wintertime or in the rainy season. and we also went to Hanoi for a week.
Okay.
But we did the dental work in Da Nang because we found it's smaller, it's more expat there, and it was a little less expensive. It's like, here versus Manila,
Gotcha.
If you can get the same quality here, it's going to be cheaper.
Gotcha.
So that's why we went into Da Nang. But, Paul, after probably a month there was something about it that the only way I can describe it is it just wasn't a good vibe.
I feel you.
Like here, I don't know, I've got a comfortable vibe here. I mean, the people were friendly there. There was nothing bad against it. I mean, there was no homeless at all. I didn't see any homeless, no beggars. And everybody thought my wife was Vietnam, so they would come up and talk to her first. Nobody bothered me, so I loved it, Here, everybody's, sir.
Right.
There, everybody was afraid to talk to me because they don't know English. So she got a little frustrated about it. She goes, I'm Filipino. But
as far as the infrastructure, the Wi-Fi, all that kind of stuff, what do you think of it?
Oh man, it was superior to
Way
here.
superior.
Yeah, it was. I mean, and even the cost. Philippines
And it's
is
cheaper.
Cheap. The cost. We rented there an Airbnb 1-bedroom apartment.
Okay.
And we did it, for 15 days, and it was $130. So $260 a month for a 1-bedroom apartment. So.
If you were to compare Vietnam for what you saw in a month, we'll give you some wiggle room there because you weren't there a long time.
Right.
But if you were to compare Vietnam to the Philippines, cost-wise, what is it, 20% cheaper than here? 40%, 10%?
I would say at least 30% cheaper, because their internet seemed to be, a lot cheaper. Here, it's average $20-25 for decent, I guess, at minimum. There it was like $8.
So rent we already covered.
Yeah, rent's
and you
cheaper.
did Airbnb, I imagine that's actually jacked up a little bit.
It was.
So
because that would include utilities and everything.
Right,
so,
right.
Food costs we found cheaper. I mean, it was.
Was the quality of the food better?
It was. And
I
found myself enjoying the food there much better. Here, everything seems to be cooked a little more oily or greasy that I'm not that prone to. But there in Vietnam, it was a lot of soup, but it was really good.
Right.
They're more spicy.
A lot of noodles.
I can do noodles much better than rice. So I found the food superior.
How about the coffee? Because I saw coffee shops everywhere I went when I was there.
They were everywhere. And I guess Vietnam is a big coffee, but
Huge.
To me, the coffee sucked.
Me too.
I just could not. It was.
We're going to get blowback on that statement.
Maybe we will, yeah.
I already did. I
Tons
said
of
it one
coffee,
time.
but I could never find, and I tried 2 or 3 different blends and this and that, and I could never find a taste that tasted like coffee. I mean, some just tasted like ass, and it just wasn't, I just didn't like it. So.
Yeah. So anyway, to each his own, I suppose.
Yeah.
We could live without that, or you buy some Folgers.
I look for that. Yeah, I'd go to 7-Eleven and look for a little instant coffee. I could do that better, or the little 3-in-1.
But I'm curious because you said after 30, first you got there and you said, I can do this.
Yeah.
I can spend, because what you're doing right now is we call snowbirding.
Yeah.
You're living 6 months in America. That's the major plan.
Right.
And 6 months overseas.
Yeah.
And back and forth. Like we said, he's set up in America, comes out here, can easily handle the cost of the flight and living here and all of that. And so you get a little burnt out after 6 months in America.
That is, right.
A little boredom, a little tedious stuff.
Yeah.
Then the weather, the snow and the ice and all that. And so you got the best of both worlds, I think.
It is.
Because by the time you get here, it's nice and sunny and relaxing. You got a lot of friends here.
Yeah.
I don't know about in the States. I imagine you do there also because you're such a nice, gregarious guy.
It's funny there. I really don't. I've got acquaintances there, but I didn't really even see them. For some reason, when I'm there, I'm just happy sitting at home, keeping to myself. I stayed occupied. I would drive Uber sometimes just to get out of the house and make extra money, to pass the time. But I was just basically clicking my 6 months off.
And you're in North Carolina.
North Carolina, right.
All right.
So, Uber was pretty good there. Still paid reasonably. I was surprised. I just wanted to do it for 40 hours one time just to see how much I could make if I worked 40 hours. And I think it was like $1,200 I made in 40 hours. I'd probably have paid like $300 in insurance and gas. So you clear if you did it, you could clear probably $1,000 a week if you did it full time. Which,
Okay, so that's $4,000 a month.
yeah, which in North Carolina is good,
That's
pretty
good.
decent income.
That goes pretty far.
It does.
A lot farther than, say, California,
Oh
New
yeah,
York, or
yeah, for sure.
maybe
for
even
sure.
Florida. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah,
Prices keep changing. People keep migrating to different states.
it is. Yeah, it
I
is.
can't keep track of these guys. So your vibe, though, after 30 days in Vietnam, you said the vibe got to you. Can you explain that? Expand upon that?
Yeah. It's hard to explain because it's not really one thing that I mean, nothing hit me the wrong way. It's just I didn't feel welcomed, I guess, or the warmness, I guess. That's the best way to explain. Philippines has a certain amount of warmness or welcomeness that you feel. In Vietnam, I just didn't feel like that. I felt like a foreigner in Vietnam.
Okay.
Here, I don't feel as much like a foreigner, I guess.
Okay.
And there's a difference.
There's an acceptance level, maybe?
I think that's probably what it is. You're probably more accepted here.
Mm-hmm.
You'll always be a foreigner in Vietnam. You probably will live there and never be part of the community, I guess.
Okay.
Here, I feel like you can be part of the community.
I would agree with you
yeah.
1,000%. I spent 3 weeks in Nha Trang, and I thought, wow, this is so awesome. The beach is beautiful,
Yes.
opposite of here.
Yeah.
Neat, clean, 5G, cheap. There were plenty of restaurants that I enjoyed, but I saw a military truck go by.
Yeah.
And it had 4 or 5 guys in it. And I was driving my little scooter down the street, and when this military truck drove by, the pedestrians walking on the sidewalk, their whole body language changed.
Yeah, it does.
It's
It
a
does.
communist country.
It is.
Man, they can just grab you, put you in that truck,
And
disappear
you disappear,
you.
right?
It's over with. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
You know? I also saw one of these workers. This would never happen in the Philippines or the States for that matter.
Right.
But I saw one of those workers that was trimming the grass by hand. I didn't see the accident, but she was laying, unfortunately, dead in the street. And as I drove by, I thought, well, I'm not going to stop. I don't even speak the language. I can't help her. Nobody else stopped either.
No way.
It's
really.
like they couldn't be, they just looked at her like, well, not my problem. And away they went. We're in the Philippines. I mean, you get into a bike accident, they come running from all directions.
Oh, yeah.
I've been knocked down 2 or 3 times on my scooter.
Yeah.
Thankfully, never seriously. But there were people there picking the bike up off of me saying, sir, are
Yeah.
you okay?
Yeah.
Are you all right? What happened? And blah, blah, blah. Over there, it was like, I don't know.
Every man for himself.
You've got it.
But that's probably the difference. That's the warmness I'm talking about. That's what you'll get here versus in Vietnam. People are very focused about their day. It's more, I mean, U.S.-wise, as far as people, having an agenda and doing, what needs to be done. Here, it's just kind of like, it'll get done when it happens.
Yes.
So that's
yes.
a little difference there.
Yeah. There's so many pluses and there's so many minuses.
It is, yeah.
When you go to these countries.
It is.
And it's so hard to find that. There's no perfect place.
No, there's not. There's not.
We're all looking for balance, I think.
Yeah.
And speaking of balance, I really think you've got the system that I would love to have.
Yeah.
And don't, because you own your home free and clear, like I said, and you're kind of set up in the States where I sold everything and off I went 8 years ago. I have other friends that do what you're doing now. And that is, some of them, the time frame changes. Some are 8 months there or 8 months here, 4 months there.
Right.
But they have enough of having enough here in the Philippines, and they just want to get back to, the food, the efficiency, and the infrastructure.
That's it.
No brownouts and all that kind of stuff. And they go home, and then they, like you and like me, they get bored with that.
Right.
And come out here. I think that is the perfect setup for retirement.
It is, and we didn't. I don't have a time plan. Basically, I'm going to go to the Philippines and stay as long as I want to until I get tired. Then I'll go home. Maybe 6 months, maybe 4 months, maybe 8 months. But just until I get tired, and that way it's short-term thinking. I'm not thinking like I have to build a house here. I have to buy this for the house. I have to buy this. I have to buy this.
Right.
So if I'm just a short-term renter, knowing it's going to end and I'm going to go back, there's no pressure in my mind. I can rent a car. I hate to rent because it seems like throwing money away, but you look at it, it's much cheaper to rent than it is losing a buttload of money like I did last year. So
well, you were all in because you were 100%. And then your wife wasn't nearly as enthusiastic
No.
as you, but she wanted to do the right thing by you.
Right.
So she stuck it out, but you could feel the vibe that she was a little unhappy.
Right, I did.
And so you're a good husband. You want a happy wife, and you want to be fair. So you guys did the compromise.
We did.
I bought his generator.
Yeah, that's right. He did. Yeah, a lot of people got some good deals on that.
I'll tell you what. And so he just sold all this stuff.
No.
And good stuff, too.
Yeah, it was.
You didn't go cheap on any of it. And but I think that you found that even keel.
Yes.
And what you said just struck me is that you don't have any timeline on it.
Yeah.
I love that because there's no pressure.
Yeah.
And so like if your wife says, you know what, I've had enough after 2 months, you can say, okay, baby, and just pick up and go. And that's it.
You're right.
You know, and so you and her have got to have a better dynamic between the two of you now.
Oh, we do.
Not that it was ever bad, but you don't need that kind of dissension.
Right, that's less friction. I mean, everybody fights. Every relationship has issues, but the less friction you have is better, and that has been it's been big. And that's what I think. When I pictured me being retired, that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
Just go somewhere until I'm tired, and then leave.
How old are you, Norm?
I just turned 57.
Okay.
So, yep.
So young guy.
Yeah. See, and I'm not able to get Social Security. I'm still kind of scrimping along, waiting for that.
Yeah, but you set yourself up along the way.
Yeah.
With the rental properties and income, and you've got some other investments that we've discussed. And again, we're not going to sit here and talk about your finances, but you don't have to worry about where your next peso's coming from.
Right.
And that's a good feeling.
Yeah.
And it's a little better than what we're doing with Social Security and all that.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what's going to happen in the future.
That's true. Yeah.
From what I understand, we have 85 months left of Social Security before we take a 23% haircut.
Oh, ouch.
But who knows? We'll see what happens. We'll see what the future brings. So here we are.
Here we're back in the Philippines, and like I say, I've been here probably, I think, 2 weeks now. So just kind of getting back in the groove of things. Found a nice place to rent, little, small little 2-bedroom apartment down in Bacong. Very happy. We decided to, rent a car here, not go and buy. It's just and a vehicle is easy for me. I guess I got used to being fat and sweating a lot. So even if you get skinny, that doesn't change. I still sweat a lot. So there is something to say for air conditioning a car.
When you were out here first time, were you in a car or a bike?
Actually, yeah, I had
both.
Actually, I had bought a truck, and then to get around in. But then my wife learned to drive the truck. So then I bought a motorcycle to be able to scoot around on. So
what's your take on that? You prefer driving the bike because it's so efficient, you can scoot in and out, or do you prefer the car because it's safer?
Yeah, for me, I would prefer the bike because it's just easy, and I've always ridden motorcycles, so it's pretty easy to do. The only drawback about the bike is when it's 95 degrees outside and you're stopped in traffic. That's the only. But for me, just to get out in the wind, I
love it too.
The bike, but. At night or when my wife's with me, generally I'd take the car. So
you got the same routine that we have.
Yeah.
And we bring the car again with inclement weather. If it's raining or looks like it's going to rain.
Yeah.
Well, let's just take the car.
Yeah.
It's just that easy.
It is.
You got a little more knucklehead stuff with the traffic, but oh well.
And I figure, what I'll lose in the traffic, I'll gain back, not getting wet or not,
Absolutely.
something,
Absolutely. And so you're going to be here now until you get tired of being here?
Pretty much tired, yeah. Right, not tentative now. I mean, right now I'm thinking, maybe till May, June, somewhere in that neighborhood. Maybe earlier, maybe later. Just kind of depend on how things go. So,
so in review, you were here for a year, changed your mind, decided not to go all in, and now you've been back to America, and that was for 6 months. You were there?
I was there 6 months,
and you lost. How much? 60 pounds?
60 pounds.
Ugh.
60 pounds.
On Ozempic.
Yeah.
And FDA approved and all that kind of stuff. And I hear about these peptides and everything, but I'm a little leery of those.
Yeah, I'm not very familiar with it, but I know it's just like a supplement. You don't need a prescription. So, I'd rather have something that I know it's prescription. I know it's
Been approved.
been approved, and even if it's Philippine FDA, I know, but luckily this Ozempic that they sell here is from, I think they make it not in the U.S. or in Switzerland, some other,
Okay.
Western country. So,
And I want to touch on one more thing about that
Yeah.
people may or may not be aware of, but that's a lifetime thing.
it is.
So that's 150 a month,
Yeah,
I guess, until the price drops.
it is,
Which
and-
I figure that's all it can do.
it is.
It ain't gonna go up.
It will go down.
Yeah.
It'll go down a lot more later.
But if you stop taking the Ozempic, there's a good chance that you'll gain back all the weight or some of the weight.
Right. I've skipped a week before, and just to see what it's like. And at the end of that week, I felt myself like, I want a snack. I want to eat this. I want to eat this. And I'll tell you what really happens is how the medicine does. I say it turns down the food noise in your mind. I never have craving. I never think about food. A lot of times I have to force myself to eat something, so I don't get like that
Oh,
empty
really? On the
feeling.
Ozempic?
Yeah.
Wow.
You just really have no appetite.
That's interesting.
And
It sounds like your stomach is really in your brain.
it is, and that's what it is. That's what it affects. So I never, used to, I would walk by the bread store and like, oh my God, I've got to eat.
Just the smell would draw you.
Yeah, right. Now I just have no,
Now you just
no
walk by
desire.
it. It's
Yeah,
like, ugh.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Same thing. Yeah. Okay. I've heard that from other people that
Yeah.
are on this,
yeah,
the Ozempic, is that they drive by a McDonald's and almost by instinct they would just pull in.
right. Yeah,
A little snack. you
yeah.
know?
It is. Yeah,
Just
or
gonna-
Dunkin' Donuts or
Yeah,
anywhere.
Anything.
Yeah.
And now they look at it and it's kind of like, ugh.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't
I mean,
sound good.
That's been the Ozempic and the teeth. That's
Yeah.
been the life changing for me.
You got a
doing
guy that's
those
totally
things. So-
remodeled you.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
told him the
yeah.
$6 million man.
Yeah.
Because he's got brand new teeth,
Yeah.
he's got a brand new body, got a brand new attitude,
Yeah.
living large. And will you go back to Vietnam? Well, you're going back because you have to, right?
We go back because my wife,
February
she
or
has to go
something
back
like
in
that?
February to finish her implant surgery. But that brings me to another point.
Please.
I'll leave. Is I got a 13A last
Oh, yeah,
year.
yeah.
remember?
Let's go over that. You brought that up. We're running long, but that's okay.
Yeah. I've got a 13A last year because when I was planning on living here forever.
Right?
Well, and so I got the 1 year probationary period. So it ends in September, I think, 14th. So in my mind, I'll just let it expire. I don't need it anymore because I'm not going to live here. If you're married, you get a free 1 year visa, when you come
Right,
in, if
right.
you travel with your wife.
Called the Malik
Balikbayan visa, yeah. But JRC sent me an email saying, anyway, it's time to renew your card. And I sent them back, well, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to let it expire. Well, then they said, well, you realize there's a process to doing that.
Of course.
I'm like, no, I didn't realize there was a process. So,
Everything here is a process.
no kidding. So when I got back here, I said, well, I'll go meet with them. So come to find out, if you have a 13A, you cannot just let it expire. That will be considered an overstay.
Okay.
So you have to go and have your visa downgraded to a tourist visa.
Okay.
And guess what? There is a fee associated with that. So
And drum roll, please. How much is the fee?
$35K,
That's between about $650
Yep.
at today's rate.
right?
So
To-
just to get out of
Yeah.
of a really cool visa, which
Yeah.
is what I have, costs 310 pesos a year.
right.
And my wife and I have to go down every January, February,
Mm-hmm.
and we renew it, and that's all it is.
Yeah.
It's 310 pesos per year. But you, because you've changed your mind about staying
Mm-hmm.
here, you're going to cancel that and go back to a tourist because it's impossible to maintain the 13A.
Right,
You
right.
can't just show up and renew it in January or February. You
Right.
may not be here.
Yeah, exactly.
So you
Yeah.
may be somewhere else or whatever.
Yeah.
So
so-
that's word of the wise
It
there.
is. It's and some people ask, well, why didn't you just go ahead and get your 5 year because it's only 37? Well, the problem is when you do the cancellation of your visa or downgrade, it takes about 1 month for that process, 1 to 2 months for that process to be finished. Well, I can't leave the country until that process is finished.
Wow.
So my wife's got to be back there in Vietnam in February. So if I went ahead and processed the 5 year, they said it's 3 to 4 months before you get that card before you could leave. So, that puts me April or May So we needed to get back to Vietnam before then. So that was the reason for the cancellation. But yeah,
I think your case is,
yeah.
is that's an interesting point
Yeah.
because I have a 13A. I was unaware of that.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of a rare thing that
Yeah.
guys on a
Yeah.
13A would cancel it.
Right. Right.
So there's guys that maybe the spouse died,
Right.
and you're going to have to cancel it because you no longer qualify for it.
Right. Right.
Like you've changed your mind. You don't want to live here full time.
Yeah.
Going back, or you could just split up with the wife, because the wife actually sponsors you.
Right.
On
She holds the
13A.
cards. Right.
She's the one that has to invite you to
Right.
stay in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Gives her a little too much power.
It does. Right. I know. Right.
I
It can be scary
I
sometimes.
kept my wife deaf and dumb on that little
Yeah,
thing.
you know.
I said, you just need to come with me.
Yeah.
That's all. Just come on. I don't want to go by myself.
That's
you
right.
go with me.
True. True.
All right. So
Yeah.
I think that wraps up our video.
It does.
brother.
I think we've covered
Thanks so
kind of
much for
from
sharing. dude.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fascinating to me
Yeah.
that you came here and you were ready to go all in. And I guess that's kind of the moral of the story.
It is.
Is guys that sell everything. What if you'd sold your house or all your rentals and all that kind of stuff? You wouldn't be in the same position.
No, that would be a catastrophe. Yeah, because I'd have nowhere to live. I'd go back home, and I bought the houses that I have. I bought them a long time ago. I bought them cheap, and
So
foreclosures.
you wouldn't have gotten rid of those.
No.
Okay.
But the primary house I live in, I still, I would have had to sold that. I had nowhere to go back to, and then, the cost would have been a lot more. I promise you. So I wouldn't been able to do what I do now.
Let's hit. You know what? We got a long video anyway.
Yeah.
Let's just go ahead and keep rolling here. What was the sticker shock, or was there any when you went back to America? Was food and gas? And,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know you're not worried about rent or mortgage. You got that covered. But just everyday knucklehead stuff like groceries and all that. Did you see a huge difference?
I did in groceries, in places like, even McDonald's, eating out. For example, Chili's, before I left, it seemed like I remember you used to get this little burger combo fries meal, for lunch, like it was $9. You go and get a decent enough burger and fries and everything. When I went back, I stopped when I'm driving my Uber, that is now $16 for the same.
That's a big whack.
It is. So it was.
And a bag of groceries or a cart full of groceries that you used to spend $200 to fill. What do you think that would cost you now?
Oh, it's at least 300 or better. I mean, the things that were really meats or beef is just went through the roof, expensive. Eggs are up and down, kind of depending on what bird is sick this week. So, but
which flu's getting passed around?
Yeah. But I tell you, the things that are killing me, like the insurance on my house and properties.
I heard that.
Oh my God, mine went up 40%. My homeowner's insurance went up 40%. I pay more in escrow for my insurance and taxes than I do my actual house payment every month.
Holy smokes.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
heard that.
Yeah.
And you're the first guy to validate it and
Yeah.
put a number on it.
It-
What about car insurance? Hasn't that like doubled?
the same. Everything insurance that just went through the roof.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow, that really squeezes guys that are just middle income, average Joes.
Yeah.
That are just been bouncing through life just fine.
Yeah.
Raising kids and making a car payment and a house payment and showing up every day at work and,
Yeah.
and hopefully one day pay off all that stuff and move on to their retirement. So holy smokes.
Yeah.
My heart goes out to those people.
It does.
Horrible
It really
stories
does,
about
yeah.
people trying to live in their cars now. And they
Oh,
got
it is.
Kids.
It is. Yeah.
They're trying to live in vans because
Yeah.
they lost their house and they couldn't afford this, couldn't afford that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I sometimes think it's exaggerated, but you seem to
Oh, I mean,
bring it down to reality.
It was. I even emailed my insurance and I'm like, what the heck? It's going on here.
You didn't say heck.
No, I didn't say heck, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
But I even changed my deductible, and I've raised the deductible to try to lower the cost of the insurance sum. So
Jeez.
it was just it's big time sticker shock going back, and that was only a year. I could imagine guys like you that have been here, 8 years.
I would
what
go
it would
back
be like
and
going
I would
back,
just
yeah.
be floored. My eyes
Yeah.
would just roll back in my head. There's no way I could do there what I'm doing here.
Oh,
I feel so blessed that I came out here when I did, as long as I did,
Yeah.
and that I didn't let the death by 1,000 cuts get to me.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just kind of soldiered through it.
Yeah.
Not that I'm perfect, but I have my days. I do like to get out of town. But every time I leave town, I want to come back here. It just feels like home.
Yeah.
I don't have any big connections. All three of my kids called me this month on Messenger, and we had a nice chat. And I don't have to go see them in person, really. You know, we talked for an hour each kid.
Yeah.
And so I'm cool with that. Yeah. And so were they.
Yeah.
And they're all in different states. So if I was to go back, I'd be in a quandary.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be on one airline after another, spending thousands of dollars. Anyway, it's not what the video's about.
Yeah.
But Norm, welcome back to the Philippines, brother.
Man, I'm glad to be back.
It's nice also to walk in and have not maybe a ton, but at least you've got a group of friends. Yeah. People like my wife, when she found out you guys were back, the first thing May did was call Davina.
Oh, yeah.
And she said, hey, we got a party to go to. You got to go.
That's what she told me. Davina was so excited. She goes, guess what? May sent me a message. There's a party and they invited us, and she still remembers who I am, and I'm so happy. You know, she was overjoyed. You know how the Filipinos are. The more excited they get, the louder they talk. You know, and she's screaming at me.
I'll share a little ugly secret. Is our friends are dictated by if our wives like their wives.
You're right. You're exactly right. Yeah.
We have to sneak out. We have to meet up secretly. You know.
Yeah.
If they're at odds.
I know. Yeah. That's right.
That's one of the little Filipino things.
It is.
Guys, if you did manage to hang in there for 45 minutes, thank you very much. And there's this Normie.
Yep.
I'm going to get the information from him about that clinic. I'll call it in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And I know that might be a stretch for some of you, but my goodness gracious, I've decided already that I'm not going to do it here. I'm going to go over there and get mine straightened out, and I can be gone for 3-4 days apparently, and come back with a whole new grill.
Especially us. We've had dental work in both. My wife, she's had them here and in Vietnam. So we have an actual true in-your-mouth comparison.
Yes, you do.
And it was far, far superior there for what you get for your money.
Superior and way 10% of what it costs in America.
Yes.
10%.
Yeah.
So if you have $100,000 dental issue, it's about 10 grand there. Maybe less.
It would be. Yeah, it would be hard to spend $10,000 on your teeth in Vietnam, to be honest. Really.
And the quality, again, you say is fine.
I mean, it's
state of the art. You've had this now for how long?
These I've had for going on almost 2 months now.
And no issues,
nothing.
No problems, no soreness,
nothing.
Okay.
And the great part, if you do, most of the clinics are walk-in over there. Like you could walk in and they could probably see you that day right then. They have so many dentists on staff just waiting for you to be there. So
beautiful. Yeah. All right, so we covered dental, we covered Vietnam, we covered the Philippines, we covered a little bit about America.
Yeah.
And I guess the theme of this, there's many of them, but from the first trip that he made over here, slow down, don't go in
big time, don't go in deep.
Yeah. You know. Take a tour, take 6 months, see if you like the place.
At least.
See if it works, rent stuff, don't buy.
Right.
And don't sell all your stuff if you've got it and you can afford to, walk away from it or rent it out or whatever. Yeah. Some workaround. So that's kind of the moral of this story. All right, kids, we will see you. Thanks for hanging in there with us. Thank you, Norm, for coming.
Thank you for having me
here, final words for the kids?
No, just, the Ozempic and my teeth. That's the two most things I'm proud of. So,
You've been educated and schooled on those two things, and Vietnam.
Those are my best investments. So that's it.
All right, guys. We'll see you in the next video.
Bye.